Welcome to Mishna study. We're up to Masechet Peah Perek Zayin. We're starting the first Mishnah on the Perek. Over here, this Perek itself will speak mostly about olives and grapes. Right? Grapes, we're going to segue already on to other laws of grapes, as the Pesukim speak about already of Peret and Olilot. But over here, we're still on the concept of Shikha. We're speaking about olives. Olives was something that was very important. Right? It's something that, especially in general, there are regular olive trees, and then there's, better types of olives. So our Mishnah is going to focus on some of those olives and regular olives. What are the laws when it comes to shikha? Kol zait sheyesh lo shem basadeh kezait hanetofa bish'ato ushchacho eno shikha. Bameh devarim amurim bishmo uvma'asav ubimkomo. bishmo shaya shivchoni o beshani. מעשיו שהוא עושה הרבה, במקומו שהוא עומד בצד הגת או בצד הפרסה. ושאר כל הזיתים, שניים שיכה ושלושה אינן שיכה. רבי יוסי אומר, אין שיכה לזיתים. So firstly, the first part of the Mishnah is going to speak about an olive that has a name for itself in the field. So everybody knows what it is. Similar like what? The Mishnah says like Kezait netofa. Right? It's an olive from a place called Netofa, which was known in its time. It's like, imagine there was a Californian olive, right? So if everyone knew that this was a good olive, it was important. So everybody knows if you have this tree in your field amongst many other different olive trees, and this one's standing out, and you forgot it, it's not shikha. You're allowed to go back and pick every single olive from that tree. And Rambam explains, because the pasuk says, "V'shachachta omer basadeh." And we learn from this, an omer, a bundle, is something that you could forget and forget forever. Once you forget it, there's that chance that you may never remember it in your lifetime. But this is coming to exclude something that we will remember. An olive, something that's important, that's known, such as an important olive like this, that you will remember after time. And because you will remember it after time, even when you did forget it for that period of time, that shorter period of time, where you're going to say it's not shikha, and you're allowed to go back and pick it. Bameh devarim amurim. When are you allowed to go back and retrieve these olives? Well, it's one of three things. If it's known bishmo, and by its name, right? So netofa was a place, that was a name, right? So everyone usually, you'll say this olive is from this city, this state. Everybody knows and recognizes, attributes these olives to those places. B'ma'asav, right, through its yield, or bimkomo, from its place. Now I'm going to explain. Bishmo shaya shivchoni o beshani, right? So it's actually maybe a little different than I just said earlier. Bishmo is known by its name, so there would be a shivchoni olive. Shivchoni means it gives a lot of oil. It spills, right? So it's known that the olives from this place, from this town, are really good olives, and it's known by that, right? Or beshani, right? Even the opposite. Beshani means that it's busha, right? From language, it's embarrassing, the yield that it produces, and therefore we're going to say it's known, this beshani olive, that's the name of it. So everybody knows what it is, so that's considered something that's known, and there's no shikha by that. The next case is ma'asav, right? It has a great yield. It produces a lot of oil, right? More than normal. Or bimkomo, it's known in its place. What's its place? It's standing by the press, by the wine press, right? Or by this opening by the gate. Everybody knows where this is, right? Because it's by a specific place, it's by a landmark. Everybody knows where this is. So therefore, it's something that will never be totally forgotten. That's by these olives that are either known by their name, by their play, by their yield, or by their place. What about all other olives? All right, that goes back to the regular laws of shikha. If there's two, say if you got two trees, right? If you got two groupings, shikha. Three are not shikha. Now Rabbi Yosef says, "En shikha lazetim." There's no forgetting when it comes to olives. So this needs a little clarification. Rambam explains the reasoning over here, and he says that Rabbi Yosef is saying this in a time during Hadrian, right? King Hadrian Adrianus HaMelech, where the olives, there were very few of them throughout the country, right? Because the king went and destroyed most of the land and he really chopped down a lot of the trees. So because there was so little, then all the olive trees were so important back then that any tree, any olive tree that a person had, if he forgot it for a moment, he would remember it after time because of its importance. But afterwards, we resettled the land, we replanted, and there were many more olive trees again. And at that point, there is no machloket between Rabbi Yosef and Chachamim.